Okay, this is going to actually be a moment of vulnerability for me. I want to do a kettlebell workout today, but I want my warm-up to be a circuit around my estate where I live. So I'm going to take you on a walk with me, which means I have to talk in public, which is a little bit scary, but here we go. So one of the things I wanted to talk about was exercising in the gym as opposed to at home. Now, I never used to have a problem with exercising at home. It was something that I'd always done, and it felt like enough. I never questioned it until I ended an abusive relationship, and all of a sudden I didn't actually know who I was anymore. My identity was kind of lost. And I took up kickboxing. In one way it was to get strong and to learn how to defend myself, and also to get me out of the house and to be part of a community. But it wasn't long before that kind of took over my life. I believe I can pinpoint it now to that I made fitness part of my identity. I liked being able to tell people that I was a kickboxer, but I'm probably a bit tied to ego. It did make me feel superior, and that's a moment of transparency. Because I think I was 34, 35 at the time, 2 kids. I was very fit, doing things that I didn't think that I would have been able to do at that age. So yeah, I think I was pretty smug about it. I used to preach about, if I can do it, anyone can do it. All those ableist attitudes that come from the internet Fitspo. I think Fitspo also played a part in feeding the ego, attaching exercise and fitness to moral worth. So yeah, fitness became an identity. And then after kickboxing, I took up powerlifting, which again, stepping into the realms of the whitewashed body positivity movement, because I'll talk about that another day. It was all based around, strong is the new skinny. I brought into that, it wasn't about my body, what it looked like, but it was about what it could do, which again is another ableist statement. And then so it was then my mission to become strong. Strong was the only thing that mattered now. It didn't matter how my body looked or what I ate. Well, that's what I told myself, but it still wasn't the truth, because I was still tracking calories, I was still weighing myself, I was still preoccupied with how my body looked. Cutting grass over there. Typical. So it was all kind of a lie, to be honest, that I told myself. And I think that's because that whitewashed version of body positivity that I brought into didn't ever actually address the social justice issues of body positivity. So it was still very shallow and very egotistical. So yeah, then my identity became tied into being strong, and I couldn't achieve that kind of strength adaptations at home. I needed to lift heavy, and I needed the gym in order to do that. So the gym became part of that identity as well. I entered powerlifting competitions, which of course, your strength has to be progressive. Otherwise you don't beat your personal bests, or you can't qualify for, the next up competitions. Oh, it started raining. There's loads of people out as well. When I was coming out of my house, my next door neighbour was out walking a dog, but it is what it is. So that strong is sexy, strong is the new skinny. I internalised all of those messages too, and now being strong became my identity. And it was also really felt good to tell people, I was a powerlifter, still tied into the ego a little bit. I'd also internalised the, exercise is my therapy, the gym is my church. So I'd kind of credited the gym to saving me. So it wasn't to do with me or, you know, all the inner work I'd been doing. No, it was the gym. You know, it was these workouts, getting strong, made me who I was, which is quite disempowering, really, because you basically handed over all your power to the gym and what your body can do. And it took the grief of losing my mum for me to actually take stock of all of that. The gym stopped becoming my happy place. The gym was no longer therapy because it wasn't alleviating any of the symptoms of depression. In fact, it was making me feel worse every time I went. Sometimes I'd go to the gym and cry. I'd have to force myself to go, and it just didn't feel good anymore. I realised that I'd been using the gym actually as avoidance. Avoidance of dealing with grief, avoidance of actually dealing with my depression, avoidance of like, who am I? I started to question myself. Who was I without the gym, without fitness, without strength, you know, body-wise? So it all kind of tied in together. I'd also started a challenge on Instagram back last summer called Me and White Supremacy, which did intertwine with a lot of social justice issues, and it really got me to think about body positivity in its origins in regards to body politics and social justice, fat acceptance, body liberation, and all of the things that I'd been participating in did not align with any of those values. So it was a good time actually to take stock of it all. Because I'd had such a disordered relationship with exercise, I decided that the best way forward was to have a complete break. And I'm not suggesting that everybody needs to do that, because movement does make you feel good. You know, it gets your energy flowing, gets the blood pumping. You know, it does actually make you feel better, but because of the disordered relationship, the disordered nature I had with it, I thought it was better for me to take a complete break so that I could heal completely. Well, do we ever heal completely? But, you know, so I could tackle it face on. Do you know what? I'm going to turn around and walk back down because it's really busy on this main road. So then I had time to explore who I really was about the gym, what movement meant to me in my life, the ways that I loved to move as a child, you know, that had nothing to do with building muscle or losing weight or counting calories. It was walks with my nan. I like one of my most precious memories. So I began to feel drawn to walking, and that's what I started doing, walking to Asda, which is just up the road from where I live, instead of driving, going to the local park with my brother for walks where, you know, you can be out in nature. Swimming, I loved swimming, although that's still a bit of a pain in the bum because, you know, I still have to drive there, and it's the cost as well as the having to shave everything, which I know you don't have to, but I'm still in that mindset that I'm working through. So sometimes swimming is just too much of a hassle, although I absolutely love it. So yeah, I've settled on walking, and I love high intensity interval training, but on my terms. Like, I'm not really drawn to being beasted in the gym at the moment. So I've devised my own kettlebell Tabata workout for now to do at home, which is what I'm warming up for here. And I've also joined a local yoga class, which again is in walking distance from my house. So I walk there, do an hour of yoga and walk home. And I feel so connected to movement and my body right now, and it's not part of my identity, if that makes sense. Like, movement is an inherent part of my life, because you know, we all need to move, or in some capacity if we can. Obviously I know that isn't accessible to everyone, But it does make me feel better when I move. But what I've realised is that it makes me feel better when it's in a way that I want to move, that isn't linked to what my body can do, that isn't linked to my depression, that isn't linked to how I look on social media. So I'm being drawn very much to gentle movement right now, other than the kettlebell temper tugs, that isn't gentle. But I am actually modifying movements when I can, if I have to. Like I can't actually do a whole circuit with the kettlebell for squats at the moment. I have to drop the kettlebell halfway through and carry on with bodyweight squats. So I'm home now, ready to start the kettlebell workout. I think the takeaway message that I was trying to say is, who are you without the gym? Who are you without fitness? Has fitness become part of your identity? You know, I know the focus is on what your body can do, but what about when your body can't do that anymore? What about when that no longer feels good to your body? Then where do you go from there? How do you keep movement as part of your life without it negatively impacting you?